the Gettysburg Museum of History Studios.
You're listening to Addressing Gettysburg.
Heidi ho, folks. How are you doing? Welcome to this episode of Addressing Gettysburg. And today we have a friend of ours, a friend of yours and mine's, and everybody else who ever meets her. And you probably know her from her wildly popular YouTube channel, and maybe on Instagram you follow her, or Facebook, but not TikTok. Not TikTok. And she is Jenn Bennie from Walk with History and her podcast, Talk with History. And she is gracing us with her presence today. Welcome, Jenn.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's a great introduction.
Oh, thanks. Just off the top of my head. Welcome. It's nice to have you here. And I want to thank you. I want to start off with thanking you because, what was it, 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago,
yes.
I was on your show. And it was something we talked about probably a year before that, maybe 6 or 8 years before that. And we finally got around to it. And that is that we talked about one of our well, was it one of your favorite? No, because you guys hadn't seen it before.
I hadn't seen it before, but one of my favorite actors.
Right. Okay. We both love John Wayne. Mm-hmm. And one of my favorite John Wayne movies, perhaps my favorite, although I don't know, I wouldn't say it's his best, but it's my favorite. You understand?
Sure.
Is The Horse Soldiers, and so we decided to do a show talking about that, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself doing that. You guys are fun to talk to.
I love talking about John Wayne and his acting, and we wanted to talk about a movie that was Civil War related that he had done, and he did some where he was a Civil War veteran,
right?
But not Civil War like during the time, and so Horse Soldiers fit that perfectly.
Yeah, because when you said that on the show, I got to thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, you know what, you're right. Like it starts at the end of the war, and then he goes off on some adventure, like in The Undefeated, for example.
Yeah, or The Searchers.
Or
our
The Searchers
favorite. He's a Confederate veteran.
Yeah. But there's only a few times where he's depicted in the war, aside from The Horse Soldiers. And those are like cameos in other movies. How the West Was Won.
Yes.
And what was the other one I said? There was another one. I can't remember what it was now.
Yeah, I forget. It was just a quick one, but I don't remember what you had said.
Yeah. And anyway, but so I had a lot of fun doing that.
That was fun.
It was nice to do. And I hope there's something there because I was in honor of John Wayne. I Googled what his favorite drink was, and it was bourbon. Mm-hmm. And, but he liked wild turkey.
He did.
Which is disgusting.
Yeah.
And maybe at the time that was the best thing going for bourbons. Cause now there's like a million different types of bourbons. And can I just say to the bourbon people, enough. And then with the beer people and all the different flavors of beers, enough.
Everyone needs to come out with their own brand.
Oh my God!
Right?
Well, we're going to do that too. But but what I'm saying is like all the different flavors and everything. Enough. Just stick with good old fashioned bourbon. Why can't we have coffee flavored coffee and bourbon flavored bourbon?
I guess because as you get older, your tastes change and you want something.
I think people are just dissatisfied. This is why marriages don't last, because people just it's always greener on the other side, right?
Yeah.
And they figure, well, if we just have a whole bunch of different varieties of bourbon, I'll never get bored with bourbon and frankly, I love them. I do like the different.
I do too. And honestly, I collect bourbons from my adventures.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So every time I go somewhere, like I do have a John Wayne bourbon now from when I went to his birthplace. I got bourbon from Alaska. I get bourbon from Wyoming. Like anytime we travel, I try to collect a bourbon from there.
That's good. And yeah, that's kind of like getting the local color, but it's the local flavor, right?
Yeah. And so when you see our bar, you can see all those different ones and you're like, I want to try that one. I want to try that one from Normandy, right? So it's kind of neat to have them all up there.
And you live in Tennessee.
Live in Memphis, Tennessee.
But you're not from there.
No, I'm not. It's hard to say where I'm from because I'm a military brat.
Right.
So I was born in North Carolina. That's helped me a lot in the South. But right after that, we moved to Hawaii. I think we talked about this. My parents worked for Tom Selleck on Magnum PI. Yeah. But I grew up mostly in Wyoming.
Worked for Tom Selleck on Magnum PI as what?
They were security. My mom and my parents were security.
Okay.
And then my mom, New York City, right? She's a cop.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I grew up mostly in Wyoming.
Really?
Cheyenne.
What part of Cheyenne? Oh man, that's pretty out there.
It was pretty.
But there's like nothing out there, right?
No, and I tell people it was a great place to be a girl, to be a kid, because my dad let me drive at a young age, right? And I'm hunting and all.
Oh, do you miss that?
I do. I miss just the freedom.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're in jail living in Tennessee compared to Wyoming?
Well, I feel like you don't want your kids to grow up so fast. And I feel like that was a great place where I didn't have to have all these adult conversations and see all these adult things. I was more protected from it out there. So I miss that for my kids.
You're isolated from the real world, basically, right? Yeah. But in many ways, I would guess that you probably are more in touch with real life.
Yeah, and I think I felt so capable, right? Learning how to shoot a deer and learning how to clean a deer, right? And hunting, and I raised cattle, and so you're just so capable at a young age.
Like you had blood on your prom dress.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. And so I feel like that's what helped when I went into the military too. Is I could do the things because from a young age, my parents instilled in me that you are going to do them. You're going to, take care of this and be self-reliant. And so I felt that. And
yet you've held on to your femininity. That's very nice.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
I feel like you can be both.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
Well, obviously.
Right?
Yes.
So I'm one of those people why do you have to be one or the other?
Well, a lot of times you meet somebody who has your situation and, they talk like this and everything. And I'm like, that's not real. That's an affectation.
Yeah.
You don't really talk that way. But so that's cool though. I really kind of do envy that you grew up in Wyoming. Because I grew up in New Jersey and it's the furthest thing from Wyoming in the world. But I visited Wyoming. We went to a ranch 60 miles outside of Casper to go riding. And I was like in heaven.
It's beautiful.
I felt like I was in a John Wayne movie. And even though most of those are in Monument Valley, the good ones. But it is a completely different lifestyle out there.
Yeah.
I remember the daughter of the ranch owners lived in a teepee like half a mile from the main house of the ranch. Because she just wanted to, and you could, yeah. Because who the hell cares?
Yeah, I mean, it is the least populated state. So when you think about that,
one area code.
Yeah, one area code. Yeah. And I was a swimmer. We had talked about this before. And so if you're a swimmer in Wyoming, you have to swim against the whole state because there's no other people to compete against.
Right.
So I'm used to driving 6 hours to swim or 5 hours to swim. God. So we would drive across Wyoming and you get so used to it. And I think the speed limit there is 80 miles an hour. Yeah. So I loved it. It's what I knew. And I miss that. I would love to retire there. I'm trying to talk my husband into Cody, Wyoming.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But I married a city boy, and he wants to be close to an airport. So
go to Casper. There's a little one there. Well, I think it has 2 terminals.
It does. So little.
Yeah, but there's an airport and it's international technically.
Yeah, and a lot of people live in Jackson. Jackson is,
but that's expensive.
Yes, very expensive. Yeah. The elite, right?
I don't know if I'd want to be around those people.
Yeah, not when they just want it for the status.
Yeah,
right. They don't really want.
No, they don't really care about being in Wyoming. They care about being away from the normies, which I do too. But I don't want to be around them. I just want to be away from everybody.
Yes.
I would like to have their money.
Yes.
So that I can just get away from everybody.
Yeah, that's
including
the dream,
them.
Right?
That is the dream. Yeah. I would love to have a place in Wyoming or Montana. Frankly, no, the winters are a little rough. Maybe it's somewhere down south, Texas or New Mexico or Arizona. I would rather deal with the intense heat than intense snow and cold.
They're cold winters.
Yeah, and I couldn't do that. And you're in you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it's the middle of nowhere.
On the way from Casper International Airport to the ranch, right? It was one road. It was 60 miles. Mm-hmm. It was dirt.
Yep.
There we passed carcasses of old pianos that were dumped off of wagons from the old days. The rough ride was because the ruts from the wagon wheels were still in the road.
Yes.
And then the weirdest thing was a blue interstate sign every so many miles. And I finally said, I think is Interstate 64. Does that make sense?
It does.
It does?
Mm-hmm.
And finally I said to the girl who was driving us there, who picked us up, I go, what's with this interstate sign? Like, I thought it was a joke that the locals put up, like they stole it off or something and put up there. And she's like, oh, well, this goes all the way up into Montana. And I was like, you're kidding. And I couldn't believe it. And this road went back to way back when. Yeah.
So I can remember school field trips would be to Fort Laramie, right? If you ever played Oregon Trail, right? Fort Laramie was a stop on the Oregon Trail. And the real Oregon Trail went right through Wyoming. And so, like you said, we could see the ruts. You could go to where the ruts were and see the original ruts, plus a register cliff where they would carve their names into the soft rock.
Yes.
You could see that as well.
The coolest thing, there was this canyon a couple miles from the cabin we were in. And the first day, we were in college, so we didn't have a lot of money. We barely had the money to get out there. And while we were out there, we had like no money to spend. But we knew it was $100 to hire a guide. And we're like, we got to get a guide at least one day so we don't get lost,
Sure.
And I was like, I could figure out the rest because I'm pretty good with sense of direction stuff. Well, yeah, maybe back here in the East where there's trees and things that I could recognize. Not out there where it's all nothing.
Nothing.
And so, but there was this canyon about 1.5 miles or so, 2 miles from our cabin. And he took us out there. And by the time we got out there, it was around lunchtime. And so we stopped for lunch. We tied the horses to an old fence post down in the canyon. And we climbed up the canyon wall to this like overhang where there was graffiti from cavalry soldiers. But also like hieroglyphics from the natives that are probably 1,000 years old or maybe more, who knows. And that also was the canyon that Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kids gang, the Hole in the Wall gang, took to get to the hole in the wall, which was near where we were.
Yeah.
And I was like, this, and the thing is, there's very little modern hands or evidence of modern hands out there. Right? Nope, nothing's paved. I should have brought pictures if I knew you were from Wyoming. There was, right next to our cabin was the original homesteader's cabin from the 1840s, I want to say.
Sure.
And it was just rotted out. I mean, there's nothing usable there, right? But it was still there. And just a couple of bluffs away, there was a little, I guess maybe a hunting party or something, but there were teepee circles. The rocks that they would put to weigh down the teepees were still there.
Yes.
And nobody's messed with this shit.
Nope.
And it's like, it's not even a national park or anything. Like, it's just somebody's property, somebody's ranch. It was the coolest thing in the world. You're very lucky that you grew up there.
Yeah, it's like walking into a time capsule.
It is.
But like you said, if you break down, who's going to help you? You have to become very self-reliant out there. And that's why I think it's a great place for someone to grow up, because you learn how to change a tire, and no one's coming to rescue you.
No.
You have to figure out how to do this on your own.
What happens if you have a heart attack, though? That's the one thing I was like, you're very far from a hospital.
You're very far from it. I mean, even in Cheyenne, we would go to Denver for most things because Cheyenne didn't even have a lot of things there.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's the one thing as I get older. When I was younger, I would have been like, so what? But now I'm like, I got to be kind of close.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, that sucks. So maybe Jackson it is.
I know.
Go to the populated area. All right, so we're supposed to actually talk about Strong Vincent today.
Yes.
But I enjoy talking about whatever with you, so we'll talk about whatever. Okay. Strong Vincent. This was your request. You said...
Yeah, what a great name.
It is a great name. His mother's maiden name, Strong.
Strong.
And that's all I know about him.
So I learned about Strong Vincent. I kind of go on a rampage about Strong Vincent. He's our second, like I'm
okay.
Like I want people to know. So our second video on Walk with History ever was Strong Vincent. And it's because we were living in Erie at the time, Erie, Pennsylvania. Scott had his command tour there. So my husband is active duty military. I'm a retired Navy pilot. He is a surface warfare officer turned HR. So Navy, go Navy. Turned 50th birthday. I have to say it. Go Navy, beat Army.
Of course.
And so his command tour was in Erie, Pennsylvania. What the heck is in Erie, Pennsylvania?
As Addressing Gettysburg celebrates its 8th year bringing Gettysburg to you in unique and creative ways, we want to take this moment to thank our patrons. The only reason we've been able to last this long is because our patrons have supported our efforts since 2019. And we could do a lot more if you join the ranks of the original Gettys nerds by going to patreon.com/addressinggettysburg. Oh, and you can listen to the rest of this episode over there.